Sport has always been a way for me to feel confident in my body, by learning to control it, but also by reaching the state of flow where there's no boundary between being a body and having one. It happens when carefully practiced patterns transform into this intuitive choreography without any friction. It's like dancing to techno, kind of primal, but also elegant. But over time, in my late teens and early 20s, sport became more entangled with norms and expectations of masculinity, both in how bodies are portrayed or presented, and in how they interact with each other. And I could never fulfill or even align with these expectations. I kind of turned my back on basketball because I felt rejected by the way it promoted this prototype of the male athlete. I didn't want to be that figure, but I felt I had to be to continue playing basketball. I wasn't at odds with my body itself. I always felt comfortable with it. But I started to hate what I felt it had to represent in the context of men's team sports. Staying true to myself meant, at that time, stepping away from this fear of masculinity. Gender and sexuality, to me, have always felt tangled up with men's sports like basketball. Not really in what happens on the court, but in everything around it. How bodies are presented, the constant posturing, the measuring and comparing, being ranked and judged. But at the same time, sport could also be a place where all that boiled down into raw competition. And in these moments, the pressure of gender faded and all that mattered was playing well. As a kid, I was torn between what felt like two completely different identities. On one hand, I loved playing with my sister's Barbies, sewing dresses for them, dreaming of becoming a seamstress like my mom. On the other hand, I was also the boy who was good at sports, who loved being outside with the other boys, running around with endless energy. I was the goalkeeper and the basketball player, the one calling out plays and pushing my teammates to stay sharp. And I just wanted to fit in. Football and later basketball were the places where that actually worked, where I could belong without wearing a mask because that athlete was also me, or at least a real part of me. Everywhere else, at school, with friends and everyday conversations, trying to be like the other boys meant putting on this fragile persona that always risked cracking whenever something slipped through. When I laughed the wrong way, moved the wrong way, or got caught playing with the wrong toys. Out in the world, that masked boy grew quieter and quieter, afraid his hidden truth might slip out. But on the court, I didn't need the mask. I was a real boy, a manly man, without pretending, and it felt amazing. But as soon as I stepped off the court, especially in the locker room, the charade came back. The older I got, the more I convinced myself that what I felt on the court was how I was supposed to be all the time. So I tried to bury the other me, the girlish seamstress. But the mask never really held. And when it started to slip more and more, when that hidden self finally burst out of its crooked closet, I realized I was and would always be an effeminate, flamboyant, fabulous, glittering gay, and then I swung to the other extreme. I stopped trying to be masculine, and I also stopped playing basketball. It felt impossible to be openly gay, to be proud of what others might see as feminine, and still take part in the manly rituals of men's team sports. The pressure to appear masculine, the fear of not being man enough, all that baggage of old-school manliness, it made me believe the game couldn't belong in my life anymore. A life that was filling with queerness, happiness, and a completely different model of masculinity. I think queer people should be visible in every sport everywhere. because visibility isn't just about being represented. It's about taking up space. It's about showing younger queer players that they don't have to choose between who they are and the games they love. And it's about shifting the culture of sport so it doesn't demand that choice anymore. But what really matters to me is what happens in queer spaces themselves. Safe spaces like Vorspiel aren't just about protection, they actually generate something new. They create community and belonging in a way that completely reshapes how sport feels. Playing basketball with other queer people has given me a joy that feels fuller and more real. It's changed how I relate to my own masculinity, letting me reconnect with parts of myself that I thought were gone for good. Playing basketball at Vorspiel has given me a way to bring my two selves together as one, to rebond with my masculinity and competitiveness in a way that leaves room for the feminine, that doesn't fight it but complements it.